Buckle up, everyone, because today's political earthquake is sending shockwaves through the UK. In an unprecedented turn of events, Labour MP for Canterbury, Rosie Duffield, has dramatically resigned from the Labour Party, accusing Prime Minister Keir Starmer of corruption, hypocrisy and cruel policies. This isn't just another defection, this is a bombshell moment that could signal the unravelling of the Labour Party as we know it. We're breaking down all the juicy details and political ramifications of this explosive exit. But before we dive in, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more breaking political news. Rosie Duffield's resignation is nothing short of a political grenade thrown into the heart of the Labour Party. Elected as the first Labour MP for Canterbury in 2017, Duffield quickly became a rising star within the party, known for her outspoken nature and willingness to challenge the status quo. However, in a stunning letter addressed to Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Duffield announced she would no longer be serving under his leadership, accusing him of presiding over a party rife with sleaze and harmful policies. The crux of Duffield's letter centres around damning accusations of corruption. Starmer, according to Duffield, has accepted over £107,000 in personal gifts since 2019, including lavish designer clothing from Labour peer Lord Ali. The sleaze, nepotism and apparent avarice are off the scale, Duffield wrote in a blistering rebuke of Starmer's character. For a man who built his leadership platform on integrity and transparency, these accusations cut deep. Duffield's allegations threaten to unravel the carefully crafted image Starmer has tried to project, making this scandal a defining moment in his political career. But it's not just about the luxury gifts. Duffield's resignation letter also pointed a sharp finger at Starmer's retention of the highly controversial two-child benefit cap, a Conservative policy she vehemently opposes. According to Duffield, this policy is leaving countless children in poverty, with families across the country suffering from the cruel limitations placed on welfare support. In her words, how can someone with far above average wealth choose to maintain a policy that punishes the most vulnerable children while accepting expensive personal gifts? This searing question has not only stirred public outrage, but also resonated deeply within Labour's rank and file. Perhaps the most scathing part of her letter relates to Starmer's decision to slash winter fuel payments for pensioners, a move that has drawn widespread condemnation from MPs and citizens alike. Forcing pensioners to make impossible choices between heating and eating while you and your favourite colleagues enjoy free family trips to exotic destinations, this is the height of hypocrisy, Duffield lambasted. This decision has left Labour open to attacks from all sides, with opposition parties accusing the government of abandoning the elderly in the coldest months of the year. The optics of Starmer accepting lavish gifts while cutting essential support to the most vulnerable could not be worse. On top of that, Starmer's relationship with Lord Ali, his apparent benefactor, has now become the subject of intense scrutiny. The £32,000 worth of designer clothing donated by Ali is now a symbol of Starmer's hypocrisy, as Labour continues to paint itself as the party of the working class. Critics have been quick to pounce, with even members of the Scottish National Party, SNP, calling for an official investigation into the matter. As Starmer faces mounting pressure, the comparison to past political scandals, such as the infamous MP expenses scandal, has only intensified. Could this mark the beginning of Starmer's political downfall? The cracks between Rosie Duffield and the Labour leadership have been growing for years, well before this public resignation. For much of her political career, Duffield has been a fierce advocate for women's rights, often putting her at odds with Starmer and other prominent figures within the party. Her gender-critical views, which align closely with those of best-selling author J.K. Rowling, have drawn significant controversy. The tension between Duffield and her party leaders has been palpable for a long time, and her resignation in many ways feels like the culmination of these simmering disputes. Duffield's stance on gender issues has made her a polarising figure within Labour. She's faced backlash from fellow MPs for her vocal criticism of the party's stance on transgender rights. This internal conflict came to a head recently when Labour MP Nadia Whittome took to Twitter, accusing Duffield of dehumanising marginalised groups. The tweet quickly went viral, but it didn't go unanswered. Enter J.K. Rowling, who stormed to Duffield's defence. Rowling, a close ally of Duffield, fired back with a scathing response, writing, "Rosie Duffield is one of the few Labour MPs with the courage to stand up for women and girls. Keep her name out of your mouth." Rowling's defence of Duffield has drawn even more attention to the deep ideological rifts tearing Labour apart. While the gender rights debate continues to rage within Labour, there are other significant undercurrents of discontent. Duffield hinted in her resignation letter that she's far from the only MP disillusioned with Starmer's leadership. According to her, there are household names within Labour who are deeply frustrated and angry with the direction the party is heading under Starmer. These frustrations aren't just about personal gifts or individual policies, they run much deeper, touching on the very soul of what Labour represents. While some MPs may stay within the party to fight these internal battles, Duffield has made it clear that her conscience would not allow her to stay any longer. The timing of Duffield's resignation couldn't be worse for Starmer. Labour, fresh off an electoral victory that many thought would secure Starmer's political future, is now watching its support plummet in the polls. According to recent surveys, Labour's lead over the Conservatives has been whittled down to just 4%. The rise of alternative parties like Reform UK, who have seen a surge in support, is also putting Starmer in a tight spot. Just a few months ago, Labour boasted a 10% lead, and many believed Starmer was cruising to a second term. But as Duffield's resignation highlights, internal divisions and a disconnect with the electorate could spell trouble for Labour at the next general election. As for Rosie Duffield herself, her future in politics remains uncertain. Many political commentators speculated that she might cross the aisle and join the Conservatives, given her views on certain social issues. But Duffield, for now, has chosen to sit as an independent MP. Her decision leaves open the possibility for future political shifts, as some of her allies within Labour may consider following in her footsteps. If a larger exodus were to occur, it could send shockwaves through the Labour Party, leaving Keir Starmer fighting to maintain unity. Rosie Duffield's resignation is more than just a personal decision. It's a clarion call to those disillusioned with the direction of Keir Starmer's Labour Party. Her accusations of corruption, cruelty and hypocrisy have struck a chord not just with Labour supporters, but with the wider public. Starmer's leadership, already under scrutiny, is now facing its biggest challenge yet, as accusations of sleaze and policy missteps continue to pile up. The fallout from this scandal is likely to reverberate for weeks, if not months. As Labour's poll numbers continue to dip and opposition parties sharpen their attacks, Starmer will need to address the growing discontent within his party. Duffield's resignation could be the tip of the iceberg, as more MPs may choose to step away from a party they feel no longer represents their values. The next few months could prove to be a pivotal moment in Labour's history. Will Starmer hold the party together, or are we witnessing the beginning of a much larger political realignment? One thing is clear. This story is far from over, and we'll be here to bring you every update as it unfolds. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay informed.